Everyone at Westbrook High knew her name, but almost no one ever said it out loud. Emily Carter, 17 years old, small frame, pale skin that flushed red too easily. Long dark hair she always kept tied low behind her neck, as if trying to make herself smaller than she already was. She walked the hallways with her head down, shoulders slightly hunched, backpack clutched tight to her chest like a shield. Teachers described her as polite and well-behaved. Students described her as invisible, and the ones who enjoyed cruelty described her as easy. Emily had learned long ago that silence was safer than speaking, that avoiding eye contact was better than challenging it, that if she moved fast enough and stayed quiet enough, maybe the world would pass her by without noticing. But the world doesn't always ignore the quiet ones. Sometimes it hunts them. The bell rang sharply at 3:15 p.m., echoing through the halls like a release signal. Lockers slammed, laughter burst out in clusters, shoes scraped against tile as students rushed toward freedom. Emily waited. She always waited. 5 minutes, sometimes 10. She stayed seated at her desk, pretending to rearrange her notebooks until most of the classroom emptied. It was a routine born from fear, because the last thing she wanted was to walk out alone and cross paths with them. Ryan, Cole, and Marcus. 3 seniors who treated cruelty like a sport. Tall, loud, confident in the way only boys who had never been told no could be. They didn't bully everyone, just the ones who wouldn't fight back. And Emily never fought back. As she finally stood and slipped her backpack on, her heart was already racing. She listened carefully before stepping into the hallway. Voices faded. Footsteps moved away. She exhaled softly and started walking, keeping close to the lockers, eyes glued to the floor. Her sneakers were worn thin at the soles, the rubber peeling slightly at the edges. She liked those shoes. They were the only thing. Her mother had bought her before she disappeared from her life 2 years earlier without explanation, leaving Emily with a distracted father who worked nights and barely noticed when she came home bruised or quiet. The parking lot was her least favorite part of the day. No teachers, no cameras close enough, just open space and witnesses who preferred not to see. She was halfway down the back stairs when she heard laughter, not distant, close. Her stomach dropped instantly. She knew that sound. She slowed her steps, hoping maybe they hadn't seen her yet, hoping she could turn back, hoping too late. "Hey, Emily!" Ryan's voice cut through the air like a blade, sweet, mocking. Her feet froze. She felt it before she turned, the heat in her face, the tightness in her chest. She turned slowly, forcing a small, polite smile that fooled no one. The 3 boys leaned against the stair rail, blocking the exit. Marcus held a basketball under one arm. Cole chewed gum loudly, eyes roaming over her like she was something he'd already decided belonged to him. Ryan stepped forward. "Leaving so fast?" he asked. "You don't have anywhere to be, do you?" Emily shook her head slightly. I just need to go home," she said softly. Her voice was barely audible, but they heard it. They always did. Cole laughed. "Home to what?" he sneered. "Your empty house?" The words hit harder than any shove. Emily swallowed, her fingers tightening around the straps of her backpack. "Please," she whispered. "I didn't do anything." Ryan tilted his head, pretending to think. "That's the problem," he said. "You never do anything. It's boring." They followed her as she walked faster toward the parking lot, their footsteps deliberately slow and heavy behind her. No one else was around now, just rows of cars baking under the late afternoon sun. Her car was parked near the edge, old and dented, paint faded. She could see it, 10 more steps. Then a hand grabbed her backpack strap, yanking her backward so hard she stumbled. The books inside shifted loudly. Marcus laughed. "Easy there," he said. "Wouldn't want you to fall." Emily's heart hammered violently as Ryan stepped closer, invading her space. She could smell his cologne, sharp and overpowering. "You know," he said quietly, "if you weren't so weird, people might like you." Tears burned in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Crying only made it worse. Cole circled her like a predator. "Or maybe you like being alone," he said. "Makes you special." He reached out and flicked her ponytail. Emily flinched. "Don't," she said, her voice shaking now. Ryan's expression hardened. "What did you say?" She shook her head quickly. "Nothing. I'm sorry." The apology came automatically, like breathing, like survival. Marcus bounced the basketball once. "Relax," he said. "We're just having fun." Fun. That word echoed painfully in her mind. Fun for them meant humiliation. Fun meant fear. Fun meant knowing no one would help. Ryan suddenly shoved her shoulder lightly, not enough to knock her down, but enough to remind her how easily he could. "You know what?" he said, smiling coldly. "I think you owe us for being so patient with you all year." Emily's breathing became shallow. "I don't have anything," she whispered. Cole smirked. "You've got plenty," he said, eyes flicking toward her chest, then her face. Emily felt sick. She looked around desperately, hoping someone, anyone, would appear. But the parking lot was silent, or so she thought. She didn't notice the low rumble at first, a distant vibration, like thunder rolling across asphalt. Ryan heard it and frowned slightly. "What the hell is that?" Marcus asked, glancing toward the far end of the lot. The sound grew louder, deeper. Engines, not one, many. Emily followed their gaze, confused and terrified. At the far entrance of the parking lot, a line of motorcycles rolled in slowly, deliberately. Chrome gleamed under the sun, black leather jackets, helmets. The sound was overwhelming. 35 engines moving together like a controlled storm.